Welcome to
Release Readiness Live.
It is important to watch Release Readiness Live so that you get a snippet of the coming attractions of the functionality that's coming from Salesforce.
We really focus on the features that are going to be most useful and impactful.
With Release Readiness Live, you get the great opportunity to actually hear it from the mouths of the people who spend a lot of time thinking about what exactly you all as Salesforce developers and admins are actually wanting to see.
Your feedback is so important. I think that's one of the most amazing things actually about the Salesforce ecosystem is how involved trailblazers are with evolution of our products.
Is RRL about to start?
Let's get it started.
Welcome to Release Readiness Live. I'm Carolyn Bathauer, Senior Customer and Product Evangelist, and your new host of RRL. To all of our developers out there, this is your day. It is developer preview time. We have an incredible team of experts here to bring you the exciting new innovations coming your way in the Winter 25 release. And you've probably heard of Agentforce by now, and we're excited to walk you through Agentforce Reasoning Engine, also known as the brain of an agent. You'll learn how topics, instructions, and actions from the agents you're building to make your teams more productive across the Customer 360. And I do need to remind you to only make purchasing decisions on existing features and functionality. So with that covered, I want to thank you for investing your time with all of us today and for the feedback that you provide. It does help our technology teams build solutions centered around your experience and to make this broadcast even better. And we have a great lineup of release readiness content for you, starting with our developer preview. We'll be back here at 11 a.m. Pacific for Service Cloud, so you don't need to go very far, and that's followed by a special bonus episode featuring Health Cloud at 1:30 Pacific. And day 3 wraps up tomorrow. We have CRM Analytics and Admin Preview. All of our episodes will also be available on demand. So over the next hour, you'll learn how to answer intelligent queries using Prompt Builder. Plus, we explore how to manage performance metrics to increase your productivity. And to get the latest on the top developer features and strategies in Winter 25, we've got that coming your way. And along the way, we want to hear from you. So we want to answer your questions. You've got the experts here. So make sure you're joining the chat on Salesforce Plus. Drop your questions in the Q&A tab. We've got this team of product experts standing by to give you those answers. And then we'll also take some of your questions live. And if you still have questions after the show, you can always post them in the Trailblaze community, #SalesforceRRL. So here we go. First up, we have Angela Lee, probably the most popular person at Salesforce today, Director of Product Management for Agentforce. Angela, I can't wait to hear how Agentforce works to deliver value to all of our customers autonomously. So take it away.
All right, thank you, Carolyn. Hi, developers. My name's Angela Lane. I'm one of the product managers on the Agentforce team, and I'm so excited to tell you about some of our great updates and then really peel back behind the curtain and tell you how this Agentforce reasoning engine works. So let's get started. All right, so I'm sure you've heard a lot about Agentforce and you're wondering, well, how does it actually work? And that's crucial for you as a developer because you want to make sure that when you're building this, you know how it's going to work in your org and serve your users and customers very well. So Agentforce is 3 building blocks. The first is topics, and you can think about topics as the jobs that you want the agent to do or the topics of conversation that the agent should be aware of. And then we have instructions, and instructions are crucial because they are actually going to be the guardrails for your agent. You want to make sure that it only handles the things you want it to do, and then be able to give it those clear instructions that can escalate to a human if you need someone to intervene. And you don't want it to go rogue, so instructions are really, really critical for that. And the last part of your agent is actions. And actions are really powerful because they allow that agent to take action on your behalf. And this is also where you can go and customize the things that you've already built inside of the Salesforce platform and repurpose them inside of your agent. And you'll see how all of these 3 building blocks come together inside of an agent in the demo. And I know I have gotten tons of questions of what is the Atlas reasoning engine? And very simply, it's the brain of Agentforce. It's the orchestration engine that communicates with your users and the LLMs to generate a plan and to execute those actions that you have assigned to your agent. And it makes sure that you have the relevant business actions for any task that you want your agent to conduct. All right, so that's it's really hard to grasp how all these things work together. So let's just go ahead into the demo, and then we can see how all of these things come together. So here I am in Coral Cloud Resort. So this is a great place for me to start thinking about some amazing things that I can do on my next vacation. And here we already have one of the agents that we've built that connect to this Experience Cloud site. So I'm not going to type everything out. I have some special keyboard shortcuts. So just like any customer service experience, this agent is able to handle this query. I'm going to ask, if I'm Sophia, and I give him my email, can you let me know if there's any interesting experiences that are happening today? And what's happening behind the scenes is that this agent is taking my query, just a natural language, and processing it through that reasoning engine, and then providing a response. And so you can see here, gave me a list of activities that match my interests because it also has my data inside of the CRM. So it knows things that I'm interested in, like beach yoga or boot camp and things like that. And now it's asking me if I would like to book any of these activities. And I'm going to go ahead and go into the builder to show you how we can actually teach this agent and have this agent take action for us by booking an experience for our user. So here I am in setup. And I'm going to go ahead and open this in Builder. And you can see I already actually had two agents in there. Copilot, the agent that was formerly known as Copilot, and then this Coral Cloud agent. So here we are in Agent Builder. And this is where all of that customization magic happens. So we have an experience management topic, as you saw, but you can also add any other topic that is relevant for your particular use case. You can have one that answers generally frequent asked questions, summarization, things like that. So let's click in here into this topic. I'm going to expand a little bit as well so you can see. So as I said before, each topic has a scope, descriptions, and then instructions. So let's go through each of these. First, we have this scope. So going to zoom in a little bit, we have the scope where we can give the agent a job. And in this case, the job is to help navigate and book any experiences that a customer might ask about. And then we have instructions. So, when we want to make sure that we're being really prescriptive for the agent of how they should interact with these customers. So we want to make sure that we're passing in the right records. If they request to book a specific session, that we have to go and reference a specific record here. As I'm going to just locate that session record. So you can be really prescriptive in your instructions so that the agent is acting the exact way that you would want them to behave. All right, so the next part is actions. And actions are super powerful because they actually take a lot of the things that you've already built into the platform in flows, Apex, or prompt templates, and then wrap them and create them as actions that your agent can use to take action on your behalf. So as you can see here, we have a few actions that are out of the box that we've already built for you that's available inside of the platform. But we also have two custom actions here, and then let's go ahead and take a look at how we actually built these custom actions. And as you can see, one of them is a flow, and one of them is a prompt template. So let's take a look at the flow. And you might be wondering, well, LLMs should be able to reason through all of these things, so why would I use flows, which is more deterministic? Well, part of the answer is, well, because it is more deterministic. When you're creating and booking experiences, you want to make sure that it's super prescriptive, that we're going to grab that right booking ID, that we're going to create the right type of record. You don't want to leave it up to chance to an LLM, right? So here we are in flows, and I'm sure many of you developers already have tons of flows inside of your org, so you can repurpose those as actions inside of Agentforce. So here we are in this flow. We're going to make sure that we're going to create that if someone asks to create ask to book an experience, we're going to create that booking. We're going to get those booking records and then give them an output that says, oh, it's been successfully booked, and it has that new booking ID. So just that's flow. We can wrap it as an action, and the agent can use this to take action if a user asks it to do so. Next, we have that other second custom action, which is built with one of our prompt templates. And as you can see here, in prompt templates, we're using this prompt template. We've really simply asked it to provide us a list of personalized experiences. And we have an Apex class that we can call and bring into the prompt template itself. And there's no code here. We're really simply giving it some instructions that will allow it to take action. So here we're going to ask it to always use a bulleted list. You can tell the guest to actually prompt the guest to reach out and book an experience if something looks to their interest. And then making sure that we include the name, time of activity, duration, things like that. But don't include the date because it can always change. And then the other powerful thing within our prompt templates is that you can also choose the model. So here we have 3.0, but you can also use GPT-4 or Azure, and then we're always continuing to add more models that you can use and reference. All right, so we added the actions, we created them, and now let's actually see how it works in our preview, and then we can also get a sneak peek behind how our reasoning engine works. So here, try that request again around, hi, my name is Sophia. I actually provided an email just in case. Can you let me know if there's any interesting experiences that are happening today? And what's happening is we're putting in this request. Agentforce is actually going back and reasoning through and understanding what topic should I choose for this, but after that, what action should I take? So as you can see here, and make sure, I want to make really clear that this is a reasoning engine. It's not a dialogue tree. It's really going through and semantically understanding what the request was. And then first we selected the right topic, which was experience management. Then it picks the right action. So first we had to identify who Sophia is. Does she have a record? Does she not? And we're actually able to grab that correct record. And then I asked for a schedule. And there we have, it selected that right action, which was that custom action that we created within that prompt template. And then it gave a response. So it answered correctly. We had that list. It has the time and how long each of these experiences are. All right, so actually, picked the wrong shortcut key. I actually want to know more about that beach bootcamp challenge. And let's say that I looked at something in the list. I saw that it was really something of interest, and this is where it has that conversational back and forth that you can have with an agent. It's not a dialogue tree that I already had. It's just going to respond in a way that you expect LLMs to do so. So again, it grabbed the record details for this particular record about the beach boot camp, gave me some information about the activity level, where its location is, and things like that. And then it also asked if you would like to book it because we had included that into the prompt template. And so actually, yes, that sounds super fun. So now I'm going to go ahead and ask that agent to book that experience for me. And what I'm looking for is, again, hit the right topic, but now it grabbed that action that we created inside of flows. So now we created that new booking ID, which is right here in that session. The output is now this new booking information, and now that output message that the booking has been successful. So now we can have our customers be able to not just ask information, but then actually ask the agent to do something for them and be able to fully complete a task. All right, back to you, Carolyn.
That was great. No wonder you've been so busy. Amazing technology. For everyone at home, if you have questions for Angela, you can post them in the Q&A right on Salesforce Plus, but let's get to a few. We do have some coming in. Angela, can we have an action tied to multiple topics?
Yes, absolutely. And that's actually one of the most powerful things about actions is that you build it once, but you can use it anytime, anywhere.
Great. So true to Salesforce.
Yeah.
Build
it once, use it everywhere.
That's awesome. Staying on topics, how many topics can an agent have?
Yeah, great question. So right now, we are looking at around 20, but as we continue to build out features and things like that, we're probably going to be able to add more and just make sure that we are having. What the most important things about topics is that they are going to. You don't want to have overlapping topics, so it should be really distinct, like one job to be done per topic. Once you start mixing them, then you might have the agent and the planner might pick the wrong one. So you want to be really explicit and make sure they don't overlap.
So granular is really important
Yeah.
in this case. Okay, great. One more question. Can actions be reused across agents?
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah. Because it's just part of that Agentforce platform. It's a platform object, right?
Yeah, so those
yeah.
components, you build them similar to, like you said, you can bring in flows, existing prompts you've built,
Yeah.
Apex classes. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So thank you for that,
welcome.
and you'll be back in just a little bit to answer some questions across the panel. Keep the questions coming on chat. So we've got more AI innovations to tell you about. Sid Shende is here, Associate Product Manager for Prompt Builder. Sid, you're going to show us a lot of enhancements to Prompt Builder that'll make it easier for developers to build and deploy all of their prompts, so can't wait to see it.
Awesome, Carolyn. Thank you so much. Hey, everyone. My name is Sid Shende, and I'm Associate Product Manager here at Salesforce. Now, you just saw some of the amazing innovation with Agentforce. Well, critical to building great AI agents are actually prompts and Prompt Builder. What this allows you to do is customize these agents to adapt to your business needs and your workflow. So today, I'm going to talk about some innovations that really focus on the data, actions, and workflows in a trusted manner. So that being said, let's go ahead and get started. To start off with Einstein Search. Einstein Search is our newest innovation in Prompt Builder to really take a natural language query, search through your structured and unstructured data, and then surface those results within your prompt templates. This allows you to use the full power of retrieval augmented generation to search through things such as knowledge articles, cases, whatever external or internal data sources that you have that you can also connect through Data Cloud. Now, before, when it came to template-triggered flows, automatically inputs were created that tied it in a one-to-one relationship with the prompt template itself. This meant that you couldn't reuse Apex classes or flows in many different prompt templates. Well, now, with flow and Apex reuse, I'm pleased to announce that as long as your inputs into the template-triggered flow are a subset of the inputs into your prompt template, then you can actually reuse that in as many different prompt templates as you'd like, which really adds to saving time and effort for our users. Now, trust is our #1 value here at Salesforce, and we're adding on to existing Einstein trust layer functionality of machine learning models that detect and mask PII to now also include field-based masking. What this allows you to do is deterministically select S-object fields and have that data classification metadata like compliance categories or data sensitivity levels to make sure that none of your data and none of that fields really get through the cracks and go to the LLM. And this even works for custom fields and custom objects as well. Now, previously, when it came to editing standard templates, you really couldn't do that. What would have to happen is you'd go into prompt template, open a standard template, you'd have to save that as a new template, and then reconnect that downstream with whatever flows, Apex classes that were invoking that prompt template. Well, now with standard overrideable templates, for certain select templates, what you can actually do is save that as a new version in Prompt Builder, and that gets automatically referenced whatever is invoking it from before, which saves you a lot of time as well. Now, last but not least is prompt performance metrics. What this does is it allows you to aggregate your end user feedback data, store that in Data Cloud, and then surface all of those key metrics in Prompt Builder itself. This allows you to go on your iterative prompt engineering journey to really understand what are your end users like and what do they not like, and then improve upon your prompts for the best experience possible. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into the demo and see how this all works real time. So as you can see on my screen here, I'm going to be playing the role of a Salesforce developer at a shoe company, GetFlyShoe. And what I want to do is take an input query from my customer and then scan through my shoe custom object, which is in the backend, our catalog of a bunch of different shoes with structured data and unstructured data, such as descriptions, scan through all that information, retrieve previously ordered products as a flow, and then package that all with the prompt to recommend a specific shoe for my customer. So I'm going to walk you through how this all works in Data Cloud and then bringing that into Prompt Builder as well. So let's go ahead and walk through how this works. So as you can see, the first thing you do is bring in your data through a data stream. I've already brought that in with our Salesforce CRM data connector, which is a custom object, shoes, and so I'm going to walk you through what we do next. So this automatically creates a data lake object. Now the data lake object is key because this is what you build your data model object on. So I'm going to go ahead and click that, and you can see it has all the different fields for my shoes, whether it be price, material, purpose, you have it. The next thing I do is actually create custom field mapping. What this does is you select the fields that you want in your data model object. So my data model object gets created, And then you can go ahead and open that data model object that we want to have. And it has all of the different fields that I've selected, all referenced in this data model object. Now comes the fun part, building our search index. So I've already gone ahead and configured this because it takes about 10 to 15 minutes to run. But I'm going to walk you through the end-to-end flow of how you can configure this in Data Cloud for your use case. So we go ahead and hit New. We'd go into Advanced Setup to show you the full configuration. And then this opens up the search index builder. So what now I'm going to do is create a search index on that shoe data model object that I just made. I'd select shoe, and you can see that over here. I'd hit next, and the next thing is our chunking strategy. So the descriptions of our shoes are unstructured data, and it's a long text data. But we want to break that down into chunks for a search index to better search on. So with that being said, I'm going to manage the fields that I want, and I want the description because that is our key unstructured data field here. We bring that in and we choose our chunking strategy. Well, it's not a call log, it's not a text log, so it's not really a conversation, but it is a passage. So that's our passage extraction. Our shoe object is not an HTML, so we don't need to strip any HTML. We'll set that to false. And then we can actually prepend fields to chunk to actually allow you to really search through that better. So we can go ahead and hit select the field. We can take the shoe name. We can add the shoe as well. And that does it for our chunking strategy. The next step is the vectorization strategy. This is the process of turning that textual data into numerical representation for a search index to search on. So we already have an embedding model here. Go ahead and hit next. And the next thing I want to show you is actually the related fields for search filtering. So these are structured data that you can actually add on to your search fields to really allow you to enhance that search process. So for a shoe, I could take the color, I could take the brand, I could take, even the price, material. You have it. You could build it to your specific needs and your customization. So that being said, we go ahead and hit next, and there you have it. Voila. Your search index is configured. You go ahead, save. It gives about 10, 15 minutes to run. And with that being said, your search index is configured. Now the key is how to showcase this as a retriever in Prompt Builder to pull all that information in. As you can see on the screen, I have a prompt to take that input and then work through the retriever. So how do I actually find the retriever? That's in Resource Picker. I go into Einstein Search. I pick the data model object, which I have, which is the shoe. And then I have a default retriever that pulls up and the shoe retriever that I customize. So I go ahead and take the shoe retriever. And the next step is actually configuring this for Prompt Builder. So you can see the data model object that it acts on, an input query from the user, and then the chunk, which is the description of the shoe or unstructured data, and some other information. And I only want 3 results that are ordered. So that being said, let's go ahead and give this a spin with the test input. So I want shoes that are functional, sturdy, and good for work on the factory floor. So this is an example use case from one of our customers that they want to scan through all these shoes. Let's go ahead and find our contact that we want to search on, which is Lauren, and let's go ahead and save and preview this. We're going to give it a second to load, but what you're going to see is in the resolution panel, we get a JSON view of the different chunks and our structured data, and we also get similarity scores based on our search index to really compare what is the most similar to our input query and what is not as similar, and then those get ranked, packaged together with all of our grounding and enriching data, sent over to the LLM, and then you get a packaged response with neatly organized that this is the shoe that you want. So you can see that here actually. You can see our unstructured data, which is the chunk, the shoe description, and then you can actually see the vector search score and the score, which is what the LLM used to rank these options. So I'm going to show you how this looks for the end case, and it recommends the Timberland 6-inch boot. So this is really good for someone who wants sturdy shoes as according to our input query. So that's the power of Einstein Search in Prompt Builder. Now the next thing I want to talk about is flow reuse. So as you can see on my screen, I have a flow to retrieve the ordered products. But I'm going to click into this flow and show you how this can be used in many different prompt templates as well. So as you can see on my screen here we have the flow. The flow normally had automatic inputs, but now we've added the ability to have manual inputs as well. So this flow takes in a contact as the input. We can go ahead and open up the contact, and what you see here is the available for input click button, and that's the availability outside of the flow. Now this is really key because once you select this, any prompt template that has contact as an input, you could have as many inputs as you want, but if contact is one of those inputs, then that actually leads to you being able to reuse that wherever you want. So let's go ahead and take a look at this and see how this can be used in a totally different prompt template. So as you can see in this prompt template here, this is a summarized info prompt template. But as you can see in the resource picker, I go ahead and hit flow, and retrieve ordered products is right there and ready to use. Now this is really cool because contacts and accounts are both inputs, but since contact is one of those inputs, you can reuse that flow and just have it ready to show. Another thing I want to call out is record snapshot. Now record snapshot is a single click view to really get a JSON view of all the related merge fields for a specific record and then bring that into your prompt template with one click. You go into the resource picker, you pick the contact or whatever record you want, and then just have record snapshot right there with one click. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how this works and show a lot of that data. And I've also brought in the account number for our field-based masking and sensitive data masking, which I'm going to show you all when this resolves. So let's go ahead and take a contact. Let's go ahead and take Lauren. And let's go ahead and take the account, which could be Acme Partners. Let's go ahead and save preview. And you're going to see in the resolution panel is a resolved version of that record snapshot along with some of our data and our flows. And I'm going to walk you through that JSON view and how it's pulled together all that information and important merge fields that are configured for the running user's layout. So let's go ahead and give it a second. As you can see on the screen, there's the JSON view of all that information. So you have Lauren's business phone, her email, you have it, her owner, that she's an owner, she reports to who, yada, yada, yada. Okay, let's go ahead and also show you the data masking. So what I went ahead and did was included an account number, which I configured in Object Manager to actually be confidential. So this means it's any object field that's always confidential will always be masked. So you can view our data masking details here. And so the machine learning model caught email address and phone number because it knew that, so those were pattern-based. But the account number was field-based, so that got masked over here. Moving on, we're going to talk about a few new features, but one thing I want to call out here is actually the data sensitivity level. So this is an Einstein trust layer, and you can pull the field-based masking and set confidential to always be masked. So moving on, one thing I want to talk about is standard overridable templates. Normally you can see these standard templates on the screen, and they're over there. But with overridable templates, you see that in the category over here. Let's go ahead and click on a test standard template that's overridable. Instead of saving this as a new template, you can actually just save it as a new version. And as I mentioned before, this allows you to reference it without any of the additional work. So last but not least, as you can see on the screen, is prompt performance metrics. You can see the generation count, the thumbs up feedback, the thumbs down feedback, all within the list view for Prompt Builder to really allow you to iteratively improve on your prompts and improve them from that information from your end user stored in Data Cloud and Surface and Prompt Builder. Now you just saw some of the amazing innovation with Prompt Builder, and we're so excited to see how you use them in your business workflows and to really add value to your use cases. Thank you so much, and back to you, Carolyn.
That was great. I think the technology is amazing, but you were also speaking to the sneakerhead in me with your example, so I got really excited. And also, we've got some reactions online. Vanthika says, wow, it's great to see it all live. Search is so powerful. So that's awesome. So we do have questions right now for Sid, but if you have more questions, please post them in the Q&A tab on Salesforce Plus, because we will get to a panel as well. So Sid, how does Prompt Builder connect with Agentforce?
Yeah, that's a question we've been getting a lot. And as Angela was talking about, you have topics, instructions, and actions within Agentforce. I think what's really key here is that your actions are actually just a wrapper on your existing Salesforce processes, like Angela had mentioned. And so with prompt templates, what you can do is really add to the customization of this. So you can go ahead and customize these actions. You can change the model, bring in extra data sources. You can change the language and the wording that you want it to respond with, and really just add to that key customization to really fit it to your business needs with the actions part of Agentforce.
Great.
Yeah.
And you know, we will get to a bit more Data Cloud too later in this episode, but what is Data Cloud useful for, and how are you enhancing the roadmap with Data Cloud for Prompt Builder?
Yeah, so I think Data Cloud is really important because the big thing I would say is that it really enriches your prompts. So if you think about it, Data Cloud is really critical to a few different things. So what you can do with Data Cloud is you bring in a bunch of different information, so you can have, in the future, we're going to have on our roadmap data model objects, data graphs within Data Cloud that you can bring in. But right now, a lot of the features that I just showed you, Einstein trust layer, field-based masking, database masking, all of that is through Data Cloud. Einstein search, your similarity search, that's Data Cloud. Prompt performance metrics, that's also Data Cloud. So you just have a lot of different ways to really enrich your prompt and make it more grounded on your business needs and your business data.
Yeah, and I think too, it's you want to be prepared. Just your example of the way the customer was searching, we're not used to that as consumers, because most of the time what we do is we search for one very specific thing. I have to go find the name of it.
Very specific.
But being able to say, this is my use case for a particular thing, you recommend to me what it is I should purchase, that's pretty powerful. And you need a lot of different data sources in order to make that a reality. So, because data stored everywhere. So
you got it, Caroline.
Thank you. And you will be back in just a bit. And we will keep rolling. Next up, we have Subda Myanmar, Product Management Director, and she's here to show you the latest in Lightning Web Components and mobile enhancements, including the #1 developer request. I'm excited to see that. So let's see what you've got for the audience. Subda, over to you.
Thank you. I'm Subda, Director of Product at Experience Services, and it's a pleasure to talk to you about LWC and mobile enhancements that are available now in Winter 25. So I'll start with the #1 developer request, and what this is LWC Local Dev. So this is, we've heard your feedback, and we have delivered a new and improved local dev experience that is in a beta version now. And this is a replacement for a previous iteration. And it comes with unified development experience and previews of how your component looks and behaves in production. So local previews are great for iterative development. It makes it a lot faster. So the magic is you don't have to deploy your changes to your org in order to preview your changes there. You don't have to reload your browser, clear your cache, or kill the app. It just works. So let's see it in action. I have a demo for you here. So first thing you want to do is head over to the setup of your org and search for local dev preference. And make sure to turn on that switch there. I've already done that, and you can see there is this yellow status bar at the top showing that your org is ready for local dev experience. Now, let me head to VS Code and make sure that you have already deployed your initial application source code to your org. And then another thing you want to make sure is that, you have installed a Lightning Dev plugin. So you're going to use this, sorry about that. You're going to use this command from CLI, SF plugins install, and install that plugin. And then now you're ready to connect your VS Code to your local dev org. So I'm gonna do two versions of that. One is for desktop apps, so it will show my Lightning app in the browser, and another one is for a mobile app, and it will show the preview of my mobile app in the simulator, iPhone simulator. So let me run this preview command, and it will bring up my app in the browser. So I'm using this LWC recipes app that is available in our public repository, and it has a wealth of sample data for all kinds of LWC features. So I'm gonna go to Styling tab here within this app, and you see there are two components, and I will make changes to these two components and do instant preview. One is I will change this orange background of this text into different color, and then second is I will change this icon and styling hooks component. Right now it's a gear icon. Okay, let me head back to VS Code and run the preview command for simulator, for iPhone 15 simulator. So it's loading my mobile app, and I'm using the same app, LWC recipes. I'm gonna go into Styling tab, and you see the same two components here, and I will preview the same change in both platforms. So let me head back to my source code in VS Code. And the first change is in CSS file of styling sheets. And I'm going to change the background into green and hit save. And then in HTML file for styling hooks component, I'm going to change the icon here and hit save. So let's see, voila. So in the mobile app, you can see that those changes already took effect. The background color here is changed, and then the icon in styling hooks is changed into heart from gear. Let's see it in our browser. So same changes took effect here. So here we go. So this is how you can use a local dev experience for instance previews. So just to recap quickly, first you wanna enable your local dev org preference in setup, and then you wanna make sure that the Lightning Dev plugin is installed, and then you wanna connect your VS Code to your local dev orgs, and then you're good to go. You're good to go. So now I'm going to share some new releases and new features for mobile developers who build LWCs for offline use case. So for example, if you use a field service mobile app, then you could try out these features. So for mobile development, we focused on a more streamlined experience with a number of guardrails that steer developers towards successfully building LWCs that work offline. So here are some highlights. The first one is for Apex. So Apex has some special considerations when working offline. So when we detect that usage, we inform the developers about these considerations and point them to helpful documentation to understand more. So the second guardrail is for GraphQL. So there are some hard limits on GraphQL when it's used offline. So for example, some features such as attributes, fiscal aggregations and fiscal date filters and mutations are not quite supported for offline use. So that's something that you need to be aware of, and we give warnings to that effect. So all of these ESLint rules are available in Salesforce mobile extensions for VS Code and can be applied to any LWC offline project. So here is a more mobile enhancement. Now, GraphQL pagination is supported for offline use. It was already supported for web. So what it will enable developers to do is you can return all the records that you desire going beyond the 2,000 record limit. And you can prime these for offline usage, right? And then you can show your record list in smaller increments to your users for better app performance and better user experience. So one thing, a cool thing to note about this is if the user creates new records while the device is offline, then these new records are reflected in your paginated record list in the correct order. So that's pretty nifty. So last but not least is now we're giving you capability to build Lightning web components that can be customized in a field service mobile app builder. So you might have seen the similar feature in Lightning App Builder. Now it's available for field service mobile builder. So as a developer, to leverage this feature, you need to set the properties that you want to expose in the JS meta.xml file. And then your admin can customize and set them in the mobile builder. So here is an example of setting properties for Dino component. So you can set the number of teeth, the name, the size of the Dino, and dietary preference. That's how easy it is with no code changes. And how it looks like in the metadata file is here we're targeting Lightning SFS Acme Corp, and then added 5 properties that you saw in Mobile Builder. So as you can see, we have a number of great enhancements for LWC and mobile development, and we cannot wait for you to try them out and share your feedback with us. Thank you, and back to you, Caroline.
Thank you, Suvda. So the chat's going crazy, so we've got some stuff for you. Make sure you keep posting your questions in the chat, but let's get started. Sue said she's very much looking forward to local dev, so that's great. And Jason Ross, I hope I get this comment right. Woot woot. I don't know what part that was for, but I hope I represented that well. There's actually one question that has come up multiple times from the audience. It looks like both Kelly and Caleb are asking, will the local dev experience work with Code Builder? And if so, how do they set that up?
I have to get back to you on that in the Trailblazer community.
Okay, we will do that because that seems to be a popular question, so we'll mark that. But let's talk a little bit about caching. Do you need to turn off caching to take advantage of the local dev?
So not anymore. In the previous iteration, you had to, but we made a lot of changes and kind of rebuilt this whole experience. So now you don't have to make any changes to your caching.
Great.
To use local dev.
Great. And then tell the audience a little bit about the plan for GA release of the new local dev, because they're excited.
Yeah, we actually, as we speak, we're working on making it generally available. We target in Spring 25. So
great.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much. I know you'll be back in just a bit to do general Q&A. So keep those questions coming because the innovations keep coming. So up next, we have Danielle Larry, Senior Developer Advocate, who is going to dazzle us with the latest Data Cloud updates. Danielle, over to you.
Thank you, Carolyn. Hello, Data Cloud developers. I'm so excited to come to you today to talk about all of the innovations that are coming out in the Winter 25 release for Data Cloud. The very first innovation that I want to cover is Data Cloud 1. A lot of questions used to come in with people that wanted to use their Data Cloud data in another org that was in a multi-org type situation where they had multiple Salesforce orgs. And previously, you only had the ability to use Data Cloud in your home org. Well, now with Data Cloud 1, you can share your Data Cloud data that's stored in your Salesforce home org to multiple companion orgs. Also, we used to get a lot of questions about encryption. When is encryption coming to Data Cloud? And now in the Winter 25 release, I'm excited to announce that we have platform encryption available for Data Cloud. So now your data will be even more secure than it ever was. And this will encrypt data in Data Cloud at rest. And then sandboxes. Sandboxes have been a huge craze ever since they released in beta over the summer. And we have the ability now for you to merge your changes back from Sandbox to other sandboxes as well as your production environments. So let's go ahead and talk about Data Cloud 1 a little bit more in depth. So with Data Cloud 1, a lot of you all are multi-org type customers using multiple Salesforce orgs, and you want the ability to see your Data Cloud data in multiple companion orgs. And so that data will never, ever be physically moved from your home org. It will always just be virtually shared to one or more companion orgs. I'm really, really excited for you all to start using Data Cloud in all of your Salesforce orgs with this new enhancement. And speaking of using all of your data in all your Salesforce orgs, what are some of the things that you can do now that your data is accessible in your companion orgs? Well, you can use all of those cool things that you were using before in your home orgs, like segmentations, calculated insights. You could start building reports on your Data Cloud data. So really, really excited about this new Data Cloud 1 enhancement that came out in the Winter 25 release. And I can't wait to see all of the things that you build with the Data Cloud 1. All right. Let's take a quick demo look at how Data Cloud 1 works. So here I am in my Coral Cloud Resorts org. And Coral Cloud Resorts is a fun hotel chain located in Hawaii. And Angela might have been there already before. And I'm going to just go over here to Setup, to Data Cloud Setup, and click in here. And you can see now in setup, I have this new thing under Salesforce integrations that says Data Cloud 1. I'm just going to go ahead and click Data Cloud 1. And you can see that Coral Cloud has already connected 2 of their other hotel chains to their Data Cloud home org. So now they're sharing their Data Cloud data with their companion orgs. All right, let's look at this Pixel Harbor companion org. So right over here, now I'm in a separate Salesforce org. So Pixel Harbor is a different Salesforce org. So again, Coral Cloud Resorts is in this multi-org type of situation. And I now have this app here that says Data Cloud 1, and I can see all sorts of things I would previously only be able to see in my Salesforce Data Cloud home org, which are data models. I can see data explorer, so I can explore some data, calculate insights, and more. So really, really awesome to be able to share that Data Cloud data now to companion orgs. All right, let's look back at our other feature enhancement. So platform encryption for Data Cloud. So you are now have the ability to create your own customer managed keys with platform encryption for Data Cloud. These customer managed keys will encrypt your data in Data Cloud. You also have the ability to rotate these keys as often as you would like. And when you rotate the keys that you've created, that is going to leave all of your previously encrypted data encrypted under the previous key, and then each data that you create as of the time or the time and point that you created your new customer managed key will then be encrypted with your new customer managed key. Now, one of the things I do want to call out is that you do need Shield in order to use this feature. That is a prerequisite for being able to use platform encryption for Data Cloud, but this will allow some of you that had a little bit more stricter compliance regulations that you had to comply to be able to finally use Data Cloud with the ability to encrypt your data in Data Cloud. All right, now let's take a look at the demo. So here I am in setup. And under platform encryption, I now have the ability to see manage Data Cloud keys. So it's already turned on in my org. So that's why you already see this toggled as on. And now after it's turned on in my org, what I have the ability to do is see this new tab here right next to Salesforce platform called Data Cloud. So I'm going to just click right here on the Data Cloud tab, and you can see here I have my first key that got created as a result of enabling platform encryption for Data Cloud. Now I can always generate a new root key, and that new root key will deactivate this current key that you're seeing right now on my screen, and it will create again a new key, and all the data that's in my Data Cloud org will start being encrypted with the new key. So excited. I know that a lot of people were wanting this feature for a long time, so I'm excited for you all to be excited as well. All right, and lastly, Sandbox Mergeback. So with Sandbox Mergeback, you now have the ability to create outbound chain sets and add both data kits, data model objects, data lake objects. Really anything that you're developing and designing for Data Cloud can now be added to an outbound chain set and can be packaged up. Then you can retrieve that metadata. Using these Salesforce CLI and VS Code, and you can create a package that you can then promote to other Salesforce orgs that have other Salesforce production orgs. You can promote it to other Salesforce sandbox orgs. You can also even put this up onto a source code control. So you can start doing some versioning and really creating that DevOps pipeline and having something to be able to back up to or recover to. So really, really excited with Sandbox Mergeback releasing. Let's take a look at the demo. So here I am in VS Code, and I have actually already retrieved my package. So if I just scroll up here, you can see right here is where I retrieved my package that I already created in my Salesforce sandbox, and that gave me the metadata. So here's some of the metadata that was retrieved, and all of that is also right here under my package name as well. So you can see I have some data kit objects, some data streams, and some data model objects all retrieved in my package. So excited for developers to be able to start backing up your code, using source code control, promoting it through all the different environments that you're using, and creating your real DevOps pipeline here. All right, so as you guys are trying some of these things out, remember to message me, take some pictures, some screenshots. I love to see all of the things that you are doing And back to you, Carolyn.
Thank you. That's awesome. We get a lot of questions around Data Cloud, and I think when you start to see the amount of innovation and making it easier, and just developers are just getting more and more productive with it. So thank you for showing everyone. We do have some questions, but please keep posting them in the chat. So first, I'm going to go to you. I think you covered this, but are there any prerequisites to enable platform encryption for Data Cloud? I think there was one.
Yes. It's Shield. Shield is what you need in order to enable it. Yes.
Great. And then adding data kits to a package, that is something that you can do, correct?
Yes. You have the ability to add data kits, and this might be a little bit confusing to people because traditionally what you had to do was you had to previously use data kits. That was the only thing you had to move your org data between other Data Cloud orgs. But now you have this new ability with creating packages and outbound change sets, and you can add those as well. So you don't have to completely blow away your data kits, but you can package those up.
Awesome. So consistently making our developers more productive. Thank you. Before we jump into the panel of Q&A, we just want to make sure that we are answering some of your toughest questions, but also the requests. So we know that everybody wants to get hands-on. So please scan this QR code and get the new sample app for Coral Cloud. I have mine. I've had it for a couple weeks. So if I've beaten you, I'm sorry. But this is a great way for you to really get hands-on and test some of the things that you've seen. Start building some of those agents. It's a really, really neat way to test. And then make sure you check out Trailhead for more information and more guides on how to set these up. And check out this QR code, tons of resources around being release ready. So everything that you've seen, we want to make sure that we are packaging for you to take back to your teams and use. So make sure you check out those resources. But let's open it up to more questions. You're all back on the hot seat. I've got a few. I am going to start at this end of the table. Angela, one of the questions from Alex are around the models. Are they containerized by production instance? Like, is the info processed? It's not used for training and exposed to other clients. Can you talk a little bit about those guardrails?
Yeah, so everything it's built on top of our trust layer. So anything, and part of it is what Sid covered as well with the data masking, is that it's going to be encrypted before it goes out into the LLMs. So even as we add different models, we always have that trust layer guardrail before it goes out to any of the public models.
Yeah, and specifically the zero retention,
zero copy,
right?
Zero
so
retention.
Making sure that we're not storing any of that information.
Correct.
So the answer is no. It does not use your company data, but yeah, that's great. And so let's stay with that theme of trust, because there is a question from Naveen. How does trust come into picture with the default models being used? I think this is kind of similar, but how are we actually doing that with the trust layer? Can you go into a little bit more detail into that?
Yeah, I can. So I think the big thing, as we mentioned earlier, the first thing is zero data, zero retention with our vendors such as OpenAI or Anthropic, so we have those contracts. And then within the trust layer as well, you can kind of customize that based on the field-based masking, so certain objects, like if you have maybe revenue as a field and you really don't want the model to see that, then it actually gets slotted and masked and then sent that to the LLM, and when it gets sent back, then we replace it with your Salesforce data to really ensure that. And then we also have machine learning models to detect that. So I think when you combine the power of field-based masking, database masking, it adds on to our existing trust layer
Just
function.
layers and layers
Layers
of
and
protection.
layers. You just get better and better. You got it.
I mean, one thing if I could add, like, let's take an address, for example, right? If it, in our Salesforce instance, it might look like 1234 School Street, but when it goes out, it will look like X, Y, blah, 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 blah. Like, it's not going to be anything that's really detectable or recognizable at all. So you can feel rest assured that, like, there's not going to be anything that someone could reverse engineer and find out what it was.
Sure.
You got
Sure.
it. Totally.
Great. Thank you for that. Okay, I'm going to pop down. Suvda. One of the questions from Caleb, he's wondering, clearly local dev saves you from having to deploy to Sandbox. Is there anything else it helps with in terms of productivity?
Well, instant previews are great for iterative development. So you're making lots of changes, and you don't have to waste time, deploying, etc. Mainly, it's for that purpose, right? It's great that you can do all of that in your local environment.
Yeah.
And there is a unified developer experience, so you can see the same changes take effect in a mobile app and also in Lightning app in the browser.
Okay.
So unified development experience is a great thing.
And so Caleb, if you have any other suggestions on what you're seeing that might help you be more productive, make sure to post that in the Trailblazer community, and we'll take a look at that. So let's see here. I love my handy pad. Danielle, do you need Shield in each org that has encrypted fields in Data Cloud, or only the primary org? Or is Shield added to Data Cloud as well? And that question comes from Becca.
That's a great question. So you will need Shield enabled in each Data Cloud org that you want to use platform encryption in.
Great. Thank you for that. And then let's stay with you because Jason wants to know, does Data Cloud encryption sync with Salesforce encryption so you don't need to set up twice for each field?
So that's a great question. So Data Cloud does not have field level encryption available under platform encryption. So everything will be encrypted. It won't be on a field level basis. I have talked to the product managers about this, and that's something they're looking into, but it's not something that's going to release right away.
Sounds like an idea exchange
Yeah,
idea, and let's
does.
get that voted up for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Coming back around the table, Angela wants to know, should the flow be auto-launched or record-triggered for Agent Builder?
It doesn't have to be, but most of the flows are because you're asking it to do a specific action and be, triggered in some way. So usually they are.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm actually going to bring in everybody to this next question because I've heard it a lot. I heard it a lot at Dreamforce. We've been hearing it often. And the topic is around, is it necessary to have Data Cloud to power Agentforce? So I just want to get everybody's opinion on that because I know there are varying opinions and I think we should have a discussion about it. So Danielle, let's start with you from the Data Cloud perspective and then we can move around.
Lucky number one.
Yeah.
So as you know, data powers AI. So my opinion would be yes, you need Data Cloud because AI is nothing without data. So my opinion is yes.
Okay. I like that. I like the opinion. Let's go down to Sid.
Yeah, so I think that prompts are really unique because your prompts, and like Danielle said, honestly, your prompts are only as good as the data as you give it. And I think with Data Cloud, it's not necessary, but what it does is enrich the entire experience. So if you think about all the different sources you have in Data Cloud, whether that be on the roadmap coming soon, data model objects, data graphs, that you can just go into the resource picker, embed that into your prompts and have that ready to go. I mean, this really cool functionality of unstructured data search, that's only doable through Data Cloud because you have to search up that search index. What you can also do is you can fine-tune your models and even bring your own large language model, and that's only available through Data Cloud. So it really is that next step for you to ensure success, and really that your prompt is relevant to your customer data and your workflow.
Sure, and I know we're talking to developers today, but I think too, when we're talking across all of the customer 360, there are out-of-box agents that are tied to the CRM data. And so the conversation becomes, if you're thinking about Data Cloud, but you're not quite there, using those out-of-box agents to try the Agentforce technology could be a step. And then when you start hitting limits, because your data might be in other places, that's a good indicator that it just makes that stronger. So any advice for?
Simple answer is yes, and for all the reasons that Sid and Danielle already mentioned. But I want to just think about one thing, right? Agentforce right now, as it is today, is we're just beginning, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna become we're shipping monthly. We're developing things all the time, on a consistent basis, and more of our features, including the one I own, which is AI-based recommendations, that's built on Data Cloud. And if you don't have Data Cloud, you won't get that functionality. And actually, that's what's going to make it even more powerful, is that you're going to see it become better at giving you recommendations. So that's just one example of a feature that you won't even be able to use it without Data Cloud. So that's one thing. I think that the second piece is, if you think about as a developer, especially if you're at a large enterprise company, you have probably tons of different data sources in different places. And how do you bring that in is Apex. But with Data Cloud, it makes it so much easier to make sure that your data is clean, that it's not duplicative, and that's the way we're going to be able to ground all of those agent capabilities in a way that it's going to give the best experience and going to give the most accurate responses.
Great. Great. We keep talking, but we're going to Data Cloud, so I keep turning my chair to you. I think that's a really, really good point. You're thinking about it. You mentioned some roadmap things, roadmap for Data Cloud and how that kind of enhances some of these things. Can you speak to some things you're excited about?
Yeah, so Data Cloud already has a model builder, or Einstein Studio, that some of you may know about, which is an AI platform that's built for predictive and generative analytics, with being able to use your Data Cloud data in large language models as well as in predictive analytics. And that is, like Angela said, that is dependent upon having Data Cloud. And there's been all types of new things that have come out for that, like being able to fine-tune your large language models. There's a playground that's released where you could start, running your data through the large language models and just experimenting with the type of responses that you're getting. And they're also adding in more models to be able to work on the predictive side as well. So you won't get any of that either if you don't have Data Cloud as well.
Great. Okay, well, Andrew says, hashtag Danielle knows Data Cloud, so he's giving you those shout outs.
Hi, Andrew.
Okay, Shuvda, tell me a little bit about what you're excited about when we're talking about roadmap as well. I know, you've been really busy, but what should developers be excited about, because you are?
We have a lot of new LWC and the mobile enhancements coming up. So for one thing, we're working, as I mentioned before, on a GA version for local dev, right? And a lot more improvements, like supporting more of TypeScript programming, and many more.
Yeah, because it's amazing how many times I'm on my laptop or my desktop, and then I'm also on my phone at the same time. So having an experience on both is super important. So we've got a couple more questions. Paul Fox is asking Angela, this is actually a really good example. He was trying the demo in Trailhead. He asked it about rock climbing, and it said it couldn't help with that. He had to specifically ask about rock climbing experience to get it to help. What are some of the best practices for instructions or topic descriptions to help combat that and avoid that kind of error?
Great question, Paul, and I get asked this a lot. I mean, we actually make this joke pretty often for those of us who are parents on the team. It's like, when you think about instructions, you got to think about, how would you tell, I have a 5-year-old. How would you tell a 5-year-old to answer this question? You have to be so specific, right? Yeah. And so maybe in the instruction, and I had this before, even testing for myself, how I write the name, for example. Is it a name field inside the custom object or the object that you're referring to? Or are you specifying that it has to match email or things like that? So being really explicit, always use the name field or always use the email field when confirming the request, right? And then before you give a response. And you can always put that in the instruction, always ask for an email confirmation before moving on to provide a response, things like that, so that it can be really prescriptive, essentially. And we found that with instructions, it's kind of how to say this, but saying always versus don't do this is better, because when you say don't, it has to kind of infer what you mean as the opposite thing, right? Okay. So kind of going back to the kid example, it's don't sit there. It's okay, but then what do I do? What do I? So I'd say always sit in this chair versus don't sit anywhere here.
So having to think about it in a different way, because we're so familiar with decision trees when it comes to bots, right? It was very specific in doing those things, and so trying to figure out how to open it up a bit, but be specific in a way that is, it almost seems like it's more of a positive thing. Do these things.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So I think with the specific question around, we had to say rock climbing specifically.
Experience, If
you wanted to open up, you can, right? You can say give me, search through, or refer to all of the models or data objects in this particular object. You can always do that if you want it to be more open.
Great. Yeah. Great. So we're all learning together. Test and test and test. Okay. Sid, one more question. I'm hoping I'm asking this the right way. So if we need to reframe it, let me know. But can you map a Salesforce object to to a DL object, back to a DM object, and search it, because you can't search native Salesforce objects.
Okay, yeah, so if I'm understanding this right, you can search through native Salesforce objects. So you go into the resource picker, you pick that object, you choose the merge fields you want, gets resolved at runtime, sent over. The reason I went through all that process in my demo was because shoes had unstructured data that you couldn't just search. So the description field was a large chunk of text that we wanted to create the search index for, and then the retriever is actually what shows up in Prompt Builder, because that retriever is what searches through all the different shoe descriptions and says, hey, I like, flashy shoes. And then it understands what does it understands what does flashy mean and which description actually fit it, even if that word isn't explicitly said.
Right, so like flashy doesn't mean flashing, like a flashlight, so, right? It means there are different connotations.
That's exactly. So Einstein search is all about natural language search and understanding sort of the semantics of it, like what does it really mean, and then searching through your, it could be knowledge articles, it could be cases with just a bunch of data, text data, and then pulling that into Prompt Builder. So that's the charm.
So before the answer would have been no, Carolyn, we don't have shoes with flashlights, and now it could be yes, Carolyn, we have glitter shoes, like something like that.
Exactly. So that's what that whole process was. I think that's what
awesome. Okay, we have 2 questions. Danielle, we have 1 question. Does I don't know. I'm just maybe you know what this is referring to, but does it only in change set will also support DevOps? I'm not sure what part that.
I think I may know what they're asking. So DevOps Center is one of those things that is on the roadmap. So for DevOps Center, right now you can use it to promote your changes with Salesforce platform, and we are working on being able to integrate Data Cloud into that. In terms of the change set piece, I'm not quite sure what part of the question they were referring to there, but you can retrieve a change set using the Salesforce CLI, and you can add all the components for Data Cloud there.
Great. And I think we had Kelly's question before, but Suvda, will the local dev experience work with Code Builder, and how would they set that up?
I would have to check on that and get back on the Trailblazer community.
I just wanted to remind you.
Yeah.
They want a Code Builder.
We need to validate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I really appreciate all of you taking the time to show the new enhancements. And even though we are wrapping up this particular show, you can still ask your questions in the Trailblazer community, #SalesforceRRL. We'll make sure you get an expert answer, and thank you for tuning in. Your feedback does matter, and it helps us make our products better. So tell us what you thought of this episode. Scan the QR code link on the screen to take a short survey. And as a thank you, you'll be entered into our sweepstakes to win one of 5 Salesforce certification vouchers. And there's more release readiness content to come, so stick around. Service Cloud is next at 11 a.m. Pacific, and then that's followed by a bonus episode of Health Cloud at 1:30. Come back tomorrow for CRM Analytics, and our admin preview teams will be here. All of our episodes will also be available on demand. And coming up later this month is Discover Agentforce, what AI was meant to be. You don't want to miss that, so scan the QR code on your screen to register now. This is a live launch event that kicks off on Salesforce Plus on October 29th at 9 a.m. Pacific. We're going to hear from companies using autonomous agents to take action and drive results 24/7, and then you can get ready to build your own, and you really don't want to miss it. So I'm Carolyn Bathauer. That is it for now, and we'll catch you next time in the cloud.